So I think my best advice is you really just have to kind of get in there and start pushing buttons and see what you can build, or in many cases, see what you can break. And for me, that's, I think, been the most successful way to learn. And I know everyone learns differently. But for me, you have to really build up that muscle memory, so that when you see a problem and you see a transformation that needs to happen to your data, you've done it so many times in so many different examples that it's almost automatic. And so for me, I think practice definitely makes perfect. When it comes to Alteryx, you really need to just get in there and start pushing buttons and dragging tools down onto the canvas and see what they do. And I think that over time, what'll happen is you'll discover, 5 or 6 different ways to solve the same problem, and that makes you a lot more dynamic. In the future, when you encounter something, you don't only have to remember one way to do it. You have, 5 or 6 different ways that you can get there. And so I think that is, probably my top advice is just to be bold and go for it. Start clicking on things and see what happens. And I think that's the best way to really get that muscle memory and to be familiar and comfortable with what you're trying to do.
Yeah, well, luckily enough, I have had it in another organization. So, in Avon, sat there, I had 2 designer licenses when I started with Avon, and we pretty much grew that with server and further designer licenses, purely because we recognized that value of having server to enable us to have that extra team player. Mm-hmm. And then we took it and grew to, the Western Europe area, just because we were, absolutely recognizing the value that people didn't need to be manually hand cranking Excel and Access anymore. We can absolutely automate all that and make their lives much easier and take away their pain. But, for me, the advice would be, speak to people, take away that pain that people are actually manually hand cranking, automate your job as much as possible so that you can then spend more time doing that fun stuff.